let's see if you had a few properties that you wanted to sell because you wanted the cash to do something. We can literally structure it in a way in which you pay zero taxes on that fund, and we can put it in the necessary accounts such as IULs in order to avoid a taxable event. And the IRS is completely 100% IRS code acceptable. So we're able to do that.
Welcome to the Generations of Wealth podcast. I am your host, Derek Dombeck, and today's show, we've got an amazing guest. I say that about a lot of our guests, but I have to tell you, Camille has such an amazing story. Started with heartache, where she's gotten to now is really cool, and I love her twist. We've had some other people on before that talked about life insurance and infinite banking. However, the twist that Camille puts on it is something I've not heard before, and I really, really enjoy it. Before I bring Camille on, I just want to thank you for being here. And I try to say this on every show. If there's something that I can do to help you, reach out at thegenerationsofwealth.com, reach out at derekdombeck.com, or just send me an email, derek@globalgow.com. And, let me help you in any way, shape, or form I can. And with that, check out what we can do for you as well. There's the Trust Point bookkeeping service. There's the Elite Negotiations Academy, Circle of Trust Mastermind, these types of things. We want to continue to give back and grow. So without any further ado, let's bring on our guest. And here we go. We got Camille Scott-Wiles with us as promised. Camille, it's pretty early in the morning for me. You're on the East Coast. We're starting off with a laugh before we hit record. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here to talk to your audience. It's beautiful over here on the East Coast. Weather's getting really nice, so I'm really happy about that.
Perfect. Let's just start this off with a really hard question. Who are you and what's your background?
Well, my name is Camille Scott-Wiles. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, still living here. Looking to move soon, but love New York. It's 24 hours. You can do anything in 24 hours. But I am an ICU nurse, retired for about a year now. I did nursing for 13 years, serving New York as well as upstate, Long Island. And I didn't really travel outside of the state, but servicing New York, especially the more poverty-driven neighborhoods, but servicing my community very proudly. But I recently retired because of, especially since of what I noticed during the COVID era. Of course, I was on the front lines like everyone else, and I literally saw the changes in healthcare, and I said, "Listen, I needed to exit, needed a way out." So I was introduced to a wonderful nursing community of like-minded nurses who recently retired too, and they said, "Hey, how would you like to enter financial services?" I said, "Sure." Before nursing, I actually was a real estate agent and property manager in Manhattan for 6 years. I saw the 2008 collapse in real time, and I couldn't understand why it was happening. I said, "It's real estate. They call it real estate for a reason. How does it collapse?" But when I found out that it was rigged to blow, I said, "Well, that will never happen to me again." But like many people that are experiencing layoffs right now, the only thing I could do once I saw the real estate market blow up is to go back to school. So I got a full scholarship to go to nursing school in 2009. Me and my mother were actually applying for the same scholarship. I got in, but my mother didn't. By the time I graduated a year later, I found out my mother had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She was 62 at the time, 61, yeah, 61. And then around that same time, I found out my father had pancreatic cancer. And before that, he had not pancreatic, he had prostate cancer before that. And then they removed the prostate, but then kidney cancer showed up. So at the time, I'm about 29 years old, dealing with two very sick parents having cancer at the same time, both the same age. They were both 62. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I just started my nursing career. This is the most, I wouldn't even wish this on my own worst enemy, to be honest with you, if I had any. But a long story short, they both passed away 19 hours apart, May
Wow.
14th and May 15th. Literally, the anniversary just passed. So as you can imagine, I became the matriarch of two families. I carry their last names and literally continue my work just to honor them, because my mother's dream was to become a nurse, but she never got the chance. My father was a property manager and general contractor for over 40 years. So that's why I entered real estate in the first place, because I was inspired by him. But I saw the mistakes that he made running his business. And I said, well, listen, if I walk away from nursing now after 13 years of service, what am I going to do? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. So I entered financial services, getting my life insurance license so that I could do IULs and annuities, which is like the big creme de la creme in financial services, in order to help people for their retirement funds. Because I said, listen, how am I going to be able to retire effectively? I saw my coworkers working until they were up until their 60s and 70s. I said, what are you still doing here? It's crazy. I'm only 42. I'll be 43 in the next few weeks. But I was able to retire at 42. Well, how was I able to do that? I literally used the foundation of precious metals investing to as my foundation for an early retirement. And that's because I saw that there was no financial institution that I could truly trust. You
Mm.
saw insurance companies collapse. You saw hedge funds collapse. And you saw certain players get made whole. They didn't lose anything. They either broke even or even made a profit. So I said, well, I will never be caught like that again. And I started to do just a little bit of research, and I realized that 5,000 years of history doesn't lie. Gold and silver, precious metals is certainly the foundation for anyone's portfolio to be um, counteractive to third party risk in these markets. So also too, gold and silver for me kind of helped me curtail my spending. If I ever considered anything, whether it was a car, a house, I said, well, do I have enough gold and silver to protect or hedge against that purchase? That's how I was able to curtail my spending too, because I had a spending problem. I'm not even going to hold you. A lot of Americans have that same issue. But when I tell you, every time I look at a purchase and I go, how much gold and silver is that going to cost me? And then I go, okay, I'm going to buy exactly the same amount of gold and silver it would cost me to buy in cash as it would cost me to buy that item. So that if I did buy that item, I would feel great knowing that, okay, I have gold and silver to hedge. Fast forward to today, you're talking about gold hitting all time highs. Silver, even though it hasn't budged, it's around 32, 33 right now. I started buying silver when it was 33, around 2011. It still has not budged, and yet I was able to quadruple my portfolio. So when I noticed that, I said, well, I need to be able to either teach people how to do this and show people how I was able to do it. And the only way to do that was to, number one, write a book, which led to creating a course on how to teach people how to invest in precious metals properly, safely, hidden with total privacy, so that the government, no one, no third party has to know about it, and how to purchase the right products so that they don't get fleeced. Because a lot of those scams are going on right now where they get promised, oh, a special edition coin, but that's not a special edition. It's not special at all. It's just a coin, but
Right.
they pay 3-4 times the amount. So being a life insurance agent, providing financial services, helping people to roll over their 401k and IRA into a fixed index annuity where they can protect their portfolio against market risk. Where if the market goes up, they lock in those gains. But if the market goes down, goes against them, they don't lose any money. In these markets, that's the best portfolio to be in, because right now you're at serious risk in these markets. Just the other day, $6 trillion was wiped out of the market. Why? Because of tariff scares. I mean, that was just crazy. So how many people are even scared to even look at their portfolios right now? Well, we have $84 trillion in wealth transfer happening right now. It's transferring whether we like it or not. And all of these schemes and government spending, all it's doing is trying to siphon off that 84 trillion into whatever it is that they're trying to do, whether it's to cover their debts or to cover their schemes. And my job essentially is to look to a person who's looking to retire early, just like me, or retire on time, but with peace of mind, and say, hey, listen, how can I protect your portfolio, your real estate, your pension, your 401k, and your IRA from third party risk? Not only that, but essentially set up your own bank and a living trust, a free living trust, so that you'll be able to be financially secure in these markets where you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to leave enough for your loved ones, for your descendants, whether or not you'll be protected from probate, lawsuits, divorce, taxes. Taxes is a huge problem right now. How many retirees are at risk of losing their homes right now because property taxes have gone through the roof? What if they had a policy to hedge against that, to be able to protect them from those? Because right now it's getting out of hand, especially in Florida. So yes, so if I was able to do it, I want to be able to show as many people how to do it as well, being the living example. And as a result, I've created 5 online courses, not just the course about precious metals, but I've also written 12 books. 5 of them are on financial literacy. 4 of them are children's books. So I wrote it in children's form, first of its kind. No one's ever written a children's story of financial literacy before in a way in which they can comprehend monetary history and what to do with their portfolio. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey, but I just want to be an example for people that it is possible. And I know the world might be messed up, but your world doesn't have to be. And that's the main message I want to pronounce.
So yeah, I asked you one question. That was great. I I don't even have to run the show anymore. I'm just gonna walk away. Um, no, first and foremost, I can relate to a lot of what you went through. So I was on the receiving side of, and my audience knows this. I was on the receiving side of the downturn when the markets crashed in 07, 08, 09. And simultaneously, I lost my father at 64 years old to cancer in that same time frame. So there's so many things that you're talking about that really ring true with me and what I love about your story is you didn't take that devastating time in your life and feel sorry for yourself.
Right.
Right. And it was the same thing with us. We had 2 choices and we come out swinging when our back's against the wall. So I absolutely commend you and love that. Um, the way that you've figured out a way. Now, that being said, I want to obviously dive deeper because the Generations of Wealth show, it's not, most of us are real estate investors that listen to this show, but we all want diversity. We all want different ways to protect what we work for. So I know I told you before we started recording, I have had a couple other real estate, or not real estate, life insurance guests on here talked about infinite banking and different things. Now, you've got a completely different spin on this, which I am intrigued about. So where should we go first? You know, the life insurance side of things or the precious metal side of things?
Well, I want to start with the life insurance side of things because,
Okay.
of course, life insurance, 200 years of history, um, generational wealth has been created through life insurance by far, by none, by far. Particularly the products that I specialize in, IULs, Index Universal Life Insurance Policies. This is protected by the IRS code 7702-A. This policy was created at the same time the IRS was created and the Federal Reserve was created. Just think about that for a minute. I don't know if the audience is aware of that, but just think about that. The powers that be, the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, the Gettys, you name it, the financial behemoths of the time that controlled the banks, JP Morgan, they created this particular IUL policy code to protect their wealth. Meanwhile, knowing that the IRS and the Federal Reserve was being created. Now, why is that? Because they wanted to make sure they can minimize their tax burden as much as possible. And particularly the IUL does minimize that completely, where not only can you put money in there, avoiding a taxable event called MEC, where you avoid MECing, but also you can pull it out as a loan and buy real estate. You can buy precious metals and you can do it privately. No one has to know. How many people know what these guys are buying? No one knew. They just acquired it and they would have the paperwork saying, I own this. I own the oil wells. I own this estate. I own that. So you're talking about ultimate privacy from the government, from anyone, really. And on top of that, you're protected from lawsuits, you're protected from probate, you're protected from divorce, you're protected from all these other entities that can literally wipe away your wealth.
No.
And of course, because of this inflation, Federal Reserve is mainly put there to print and print. And now we're in a situation where the Federal Reserve's back is against the wall. They have to lower interest rates. It's just a mess. So these instruments are certainly a way to definitely protect you from third party risk.
And just to clear it up,
Mm-hmm.
you take money out of the life insurance policy as a loan, and many people don't understand this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can explain it, or you can explain it probably better. But when you put cash into your life insurance policy, or the cash value grows, which is as part of your premium, and these types of policies that you're talking about, you can overfund up to a limit called the MEC
Correct.
limit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The money goes into the general fund. You're not borrowing your money back out. You're
Right.
borrowing money from the life insurance company itself.
Right.
And this was something that honestly I've had this discussion time and time again with people in my life, and they're like, why would I overfund and put money in and then borrow it back out? And I'm like, that's not what you're doing. So
Right.
did I explain that well enough, or do you need to clear
Yes, you
that
did.
up? Okay.
You did. Absolutely. Absolutely. You explained it pretty well. But the main reason if they ask that question is because, well, if you put money in it to borrow it back, it's going to be a non-taxable event because it'll be viewed as a loan. um, if anyone understands how loans are structured in the tax code, if you take out loans, loans are not taxable, just like life insurance is not taxable. So once you understand that code, once you understand the game, essentially, you play the game the way the elites play it. And unfortunately, 95% of the public doesn't even know about this stuff. And once I knew, it blew my mind.
Yeah. And so you take the money out in the form of a loan. And I think it's also important to point out that you don't have to pay that loan back, right? Talk
Right.
about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. What you don't have to pay that entire loan back, so to speak. You still continue to pay your premiums, but you don't have to pay the loan back. Why? Because the beautiful part about IULs, it continues to compound in interest on the money that you borrowed and on the rest of the money that's in the account. So it continues to compound interest. Now, of course, if you're really smart, you would borrow from your IUL at lower interest rates compared to what the banks are trying to charge you, and continue to accumulate a compound interest in your IUL at high interest rates, which of course is what the banks would charge you because the banks are getting those same high interest rates because they get IULs. You understand? They
Yep.
put their money in IULs. Why is it that people don't think that the banks don't use your money and make a huge amount of profit from your deposits, from whatever it is that you put into your account? They use the same mechanism, but you can be your own bank by doing the same thing. And the great part is, yes, you don't have to pay the whole loan back. Just continue to pay your premiums. You'll still have that death benefit, and you'll still be able to compound interest on it.
Right. Yeah. When you mentioned banks putting their money into, IULs, that's the same thing with executive CEO comp plans, and right, like, and I know that you do touch on that. Um, this is something that is so incredibly powerful, but you can get sucked in, right? Like I know people that have, in my opinion, too many life insurance policies, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I met a guy, I mean, I think he had, and I might be a little high on this, but it was 14 or 16 policies because he was trying to hit the MEC limit on every one, right?
Right.
But
Smart guy, I must say.
yeah, but the downside of that is if you have a downturn in your business or the economy or
Right.
whatever, if you stop paying the premiums, that policy is going to be gone. So,
Absolutely.
so you
So
have to
you
be
need, so if you're going to pull out the money, you have to put it out in an income producing asset that
right,
is going to compound or even grow even faster than the inflation rate that's going on right now. Yeah.
right. So that was the part where when he was actually presenting at an event I was at, and when he's talking about that, I'm like, yeah, when it's good, it's great. However,
Yeah.
if something happens and you're in a cash crunch, can't make those premiums, bye-bye policy. So I
Right.
just I like to kind of be safe, a little safer than that. All right.
Okay, absolutely.
So we got the life insurance policy set up. We're overfunding it. We're borrowing money out of that, and now we're buying commodities.
Yes, we're buying gold and silver. So at this instance, gold, of course, is going to continue. I mean, even though people think that gold prices are really high right now, which I bought the vast majority of mine when it was still under 1800, right before Russia invaded Ukraine, because I knew that was going to be the floor. Why? Because they were going to seize Russian assets, which was going to be leading to a trigger event to everyone, every other country saying, oh, if I don't get along with you or I decide to invade, you're going to seize my assets too? Okay, I'm going to flood into gold and stop buying US treasuries. That's exactly what happened. And right now we're in a US treasury crunch right now where interest rates continue to spike because people are pulling back from buying US treasuries. So then I knew that was the floor. So yes, you use your IUL loans to buy precious metals privately, securely. I don't agree with buying using Roth IRAs to do that because the government will know that you are using it for gold. Point blank, the end. And if they decide to change the rules around and say, oh well, we can confiscate or we can take, or we know that you have this, game over. And we don't know what they're going to do. So wouldn't it be wise to avoid that and just do it in a privacy type of way by using those proceeds into precious metals? Now, gold is high, but I do not believe that gold is going any lower than here right now. It might have a little pullback, 100 or 200, but when you have central banks buying record amounts, never seen before in the history of central banks, I don't think this momentum is going to stop. Silver, however, silver is by far the best opportunity I've ever seen. It's still below its all-time high of $50. And adjusted for inflation, it's supposed to be at least 200. Silver is coming out of the ground at 7-1. That's a silver to gold ratio. That, and all the mining companies, and all you have to do is do the research and go to the Silver Institute. They'll tell you 7-1. Yet it's being traded at 100-1 right now in the paper markets, in the derivatives markets. That's ridiculous. And as I just told you, silver has barely budged from the 13 years that I've been buying this stuff. 14 years, as a matter of fact. This is 2025. Yeah. Wow, time is. I just realized that. So it has barely budged. Yet I was still able to quadruple my portfolio, where I can sit here with peace of mind. I saved every single dollar from my COVID days working as a nurse, because many nurses don't have what they made during COVID, which is sad, but it's true. A lot of people spent their money, and they lost their money in cryptos and all these other schemes. They have nothing to show for it. I made sure put it all in metals, and that was by far the best thing I could have done. Now, of course, particular products are certainly what definitely propels your portfolio and will continue to go up no matter what the spot price does. But essentially, when you have the factors of gold and the gold to silver ratio, where it's completely out of whack, you have the Dow to gold ratio. If you really truly want to know if the markets are overvalued, look at the Dow to gold ratio. There's been periods of time in which you could buy one share of the Dow with 1 ounce of gold. And we believe that that time is going to come again, where the stock evaluations in the Dow is way too high. Gold has still not hit its peak yet. So either the Dow Jones will have to go down to match the price of gold, or gold would have to go up. Either way, it's great for gold.
What currently, we're recording this in May. What's gold at right now?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I literally have it up right here. Gold is at $3,300. It went up really, really big yesterday.
Wow.
33.16 now. So it's up $10. Silver is at 33 specifically. Platinum and palladium is another thing I wanted to touch on briefly too, because platinum and palladium, platinum historically has been always higher than gold, but now you see a complete reverse where platinum is at 1,079 and palladium is at 1,055. Palladium has always been higher than platinum, but because of the auto industry, it has really taken a hit. And of course, even though most of it comes out of South Africa, and of course Russia mines a lot of it too. We do anticipate though that those commodities will skyrocket, especially if there's a little tick in the auto industry, especially if there's any war industry as far as Russia, China, anything of that sort. We do think that those metals are also going to go up too as well. It's part of the commodity strategy, honestly. But gold and silver are primarily monetary metals, and those are the ones that I would certainly focus on. But gold has been my anchor this whole entire time, even though silver hasn't budged. But I've still been able to quadruple my portfolio regardless of the spot price of silver. So I'm really happy that I made the decisions that I made. And we can also touch on crypto and the issues about that.
The best negotiators don't just respond to objections. They dismantle them before they ever come up. Inside Elite Negotiations Academy, you'll learn how to spot concerns early, address them with confidence, and keep conversations moving toward a yes without pressure or games. We walk through real negotiations, real objections, and real outcomes, so you know exactly what to say and why it works. It's not about slick sales tactics. It's about understanding people, earning trust, and leading the conversation. Join now for just $49 per month for your first 3 months at EliteNegotiationsAcademy.com. Because the best way to overcome objections is to never give them a chance to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I love your opinions on crypto. I'm not a crypto fan. And it's not that I have anything against it. I don't understand it enough to get excited about it. But I mean, I have some, but what's your thought?
I'm with you on that one. I have some too as well, but I'm not a crypto fan either. I'm a Bitcoin fan because I understand the blockchain technology. I read the white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto. I was there when I saw it, when I read it, and of course I saw the 2008 collapse in real time. So when 2009 came out, and Bitcoin came out, I said, "Well, this is it. This is the revolution. It's happening." Here's the problem with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is being controlled, even though it's decentralized.
Mhm.
Vast majority of Bitcoin is owned by huge oligarchs, banks, hedge funds, you name it. Michael Saylor and his company has now become a Bitcoin. He has this infinite money glitch now where he borrows from his shares to buy more Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, and so because Bitcoin goes up, his shares go up, so he can buy more Bitcoin, borrowing from his shares. And the money glitch continues to go up until it doesn't. It works, but until it doesn't. So I do believe that he's probably going to trigger the next Bitcoin winter, crypto winter, unfortunately. But here's the problem with Bitcoin, right? Because it's concentrated mostly in fewer hands. It's even though it's decentralized, I'm not sitting too easy about that. I don't like it when an asset is being owned by a few. Gold is like that too. I would say the majority of them is owned by the elites. However, you have access to it easily, so such as Bitcoin. But because it's so concentrated, and because 90% of Bitcoin is traded in Tether, I don't know if people knew that. Tether is another what do you call it, stable coin, so to speak. Tether, however, is backed by U.S. Treasuries, and just recently in the last few years, it has been increasing its backing of U.S. Treasuries. Here's the problem: people are backing out from buying U.S. Treasuries. What happens? Shaky. So does Tether. If Tether becomes shaky, so will Bitcoin. And that is the problem. There's systemic risk in the markets, in these crypto markets. And then you have the crypto schemes. You have all of these other projects that are going on. They have no substance behind them, but people are just launching them, like the Trump coin, the Melania coin, the Libra coin in Argentina. Insane. Now we have a president who's literally lifting the veil, or lifting the restrictions from all these crypto schemes that can happen, putting people, you and me, at risk because we're trying to learn this stuff, but we're getting fleeced. We're getting rinsed. It's a new term now, rinsed.
Yeah.
Where they literally snipe the coin before it even gets to appreciate, and it goes down. So it's a game. It's one big game, and if you don't understand the rules before they change it on you, you lose.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on, and I love your passion about it. I'm really a fan of diversification, but also paying the government as little as I legally can. I mean, I want to pay my fair share, as long as my fair share is low. So,
very low.
with what you're talking about, you can do some of this within your IRAs, your 401ks, and not use life insurance. But as you mentioned, now it is putting a spotlight on what you have. I mean, your retirement accounts are reported.
Right.
So my question is, you have this life insurance policy, which is in your personal name, I'm assuming. And
or you could put it in a trust. You could put it under a trust. Absolutely.
Okay, right. That's where I was going to go with that. So if you have the life insurance policy, now you go pull cash out and buy gold, buy silver. who's holding the gold and silver? Is it you personally? Is it a
You
trust? Is it
personally.
an entity?
You personally. Matter of fact, even if it's your trust or your entity, you're the owner of of that trust and that entity. So it's in your person, and that's the main goal. You want to be in possession. If you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's private, because you know where it's stored, because you have access to it, only you would know. And that's why a trust is so important. So that even if you put it somewhere safe, your descendants would know, or your children would know, or anyone that is in your will would know where it is. So it wouldn't go missing, so to speak, or lost in a boating accident, so to speak, as we say in crypto in the
Yeah.
precious metals world. Yeah.
And that was something that I thought was a very important point, right? Like having the proper trust and will. You mentioned that I think you work with your clients to set them up with a living trust and a will.
For free. We give free living trust and will to our clients. Yes.
Well, that's impressive. You don't hear that word very often when it comes to
Yes.
trust. I mean, what do you actually do for your clients? I know you work with them and you're a financial advisor, but let's kind of walk through that. What I come to you, I'm brand new. I don't know anything about investing in commodities or life insurance. Where do you start?
Excellent. So the first thing we'll do is assess your monthly expenses and assess where your retirement funds are. How many 401k, what's in your 401k and how many do you have? What's in your IRA and how many do you have? What's in your bank account and how much do you have in there? Because of course, cash in the bank could also be at risk too, because these banks are on shaky ground. So we also assess your FIN number, financial independence number.
Mm-hmm.
This is the number that will determine how much you'll need for retirement. And this is very, very crucial. And we sit down with you and literally show you, full transparency, how we calculate it. And based on inflation rates, what you're going to need for retirement. Based on that number, we can then assess, okay, what type of products should we really be putting you into? How many annuities will you need? How many IULs will you need? And we'll also assess how many properties, if you're a homeowner, especially, how many IULs should you have to hedge against each property as well. Now, you can have one for yourself, but with my clients, I actually use advanced tax strategies to not only set up a trust, but also set up even if we have to set up a charity for them, so that it'd be like a shelter, so to speak, so that they can put the money in the charity so that they can completely um, save on taxes, especially if they have a real estate portfolio or they had to sell their real estate. Let's see if you had a few properties that you wanted to sell because you wanted the cash to do something. We can literally structure it in a way in which you pay zero taxes on that fund, and we can put it in the necessary accounts such as IULs in order to avoid a taxable event. And the IRS is completely 100% IRS code acceptable. So we're able to do that. And then, of course, we'll then look at your children. We'll look at your grandchildren. What kind of needs do they have? If you have grown adults, if you're currently working, by the way, we go, hey, listen, the IUL is great, but what if you stop working right now? You get sick, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You end up in a car accident. You can't perform 2 out of the 6 ADLs. You can't brush your teeth. You can't walk properly. Can you transfer your working skills to anyone else? Can you send anyone else to your job to work for you? No. The answer is obviously no. Mm-hmm. So we would put you into a term with living benefits policy, which could be $50 to $100 a month. That literally covers your income, where the policy will pay up to 90% of the face value if you cannot go back to work. That is phenomenal. Not many life insurance agents are even selling these products, but of course you can see the company behind me, Ethos. Yeah. We do. Yeah. Matter of fact, they're the ones that help us offer free wills and free living trusts as well. So yes, I work with great companies. I work with over 30 companies, 30 life insurance companies, and over 20 annuity companies. And because of that variety of companies that I work with, by the way, I'm also an international broker. I'm not just a United States broker. We operate in over 54 countries. Okay. So we can literally service anyone, even if you have just a visa, even if you have just a visitor's passport, you have a U.S. passport, or even if your country's native passport, we can also get you into these IUL products. It's completely available for you. especially if you live abroad, because I know a lot of American citizens live abroad.
Mhm.
So going back to the scenario, so we'll assess how much you'll need for term living benefits to protect your income, and then how many children do you have? Do you have young children? Because we can put them in $1 million baby policy, in which by the time they're in their 20s, they're a multimillionaire and they don't even know it. If they need to go to college, if they need a car, you can borrow from the IUL to pay for that. You don't have to go to the bank. Wow, that's something that blows my mind just thinking about it, because how many parents now would have loved to have an IUL when their children were young? So
Mhm.
now that they're going to college, they don't have to go to the bank and they have to be saddled with student loan debt. Look how many people have had their credit scores lowered because they are trapped in student loans. Unbelievable. So then we go from there. We say, okay, if you have adult children, we need them to set up an IUL so that they have an early retirement structure in place, so that even if they collect, even if they have a 401k or IRA eventually, the IUL will certainly be that anchor for them, so that they wouldn't have to worry about market collapses. They wouldn't have to worry about third party risk in these markets. The IUL would certainly cover them. So yeah, that's pretty much the timeline. And then of course we continue to service you and answer any questions you may have. And if you find value in what you've heard and what we've done for you, you have any friends that would love the service? Because of course we want to help as many people in the community as possible, internationally too as well.
Well, that sounds amazing. I've been blessed to meet a lot of people like you in my life where, like my personal business advisor who works with me on my IULs and all that type of stuff. Same thing. Like he just kind of came from uh I don't want to say challenging times, but we all have challenges in life. And now he's very heart centered. I can tell you're very heart centered. I love that, and just the information you're sharing. I know I've not had anybody on this show that talked about it in this way or as passionately as you do. So I really, really appreciate that, Camille.
You're welcome. And of course, because of what I've been through, I totally understand what people are going through now. And just looking back at the emotions, I felt like a wreck
Mhm.
at that time. And I had two families waiting on, depending on me. I had older siblings and younger siblings. I was in the middle. And I'm like, what am I going to do? But thank God I had a skill, which is what I would encourage everyone today, if listening to the sound of my voice. If you've lost your job and recently got laid off, you need to get yourself back into the workforce by obtaining skills. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm actually learning AI technology so that I can service business owners and incorporate AI into their business. Now, a lot of people have feelings about AI. They think, oh, AI is going to take over people's jobs, but that's not it. What you're looking at is people who learn AI first will not lose their jobs first. That is the issue. You need to learn how to use AI efficiently in your job first before they start laying off. That's the problem. They stand there and wondering what happened. Why am I losing my job? Because you didn't adapt.
Yeah.
You need to adapt to the environment, and that is where we're turning to. AI is not going anywhere, guys. So it's either you conform and adapt or get left behind. So that's what I'm doing so that I can incorporate that. And I teach my agents. I have 85 agents in my brokerage. So I teach them exactly what I know so that they can apply and they can add value to business owners too as well. And business owners are suffering right now. They're really going through it.
Mhm.
So imagine me adding value for free, by the way. Not only adding AI so that you can streamline their business, but also, hey, do you need any grants? I'm a grant writer as well. Let's find some funding for your business to see if you qualify. By the way, are you properly structured? Are you a LLC or S corporation? We can help properly structure you. Are you trademarked? Is your business name copyrighted properly? Let's make sure that's in place so that you can qualify for these grants. Let's get a mission statement. Oh, by the way, let's make sure your credit is good. Let's make sure you have no derogatories on your credit. We can help with credit repair as well. Also, let's make sure not only that you're properly structured, but make sure that we can get you SBA loans. Once you're properly structured, we can present to these banks if you wanted a loan. Because once again, we're trying to prevent debt. But if you wanted a business loan, we can help you get that too once you're properly structured and you have everything in place. But grants, absolutely. We help with grant funding as well.
You're just a one-stop shop for helping.
That's right, because I knew I needed to add value. I needed to stand out because there's so many of us. To be honest, let's keep it real. There's so many financial advisors, so many financial professionals out there. But how can you stand out? How can you really truly add value? Mission before permission. I truly believe that. And if it was me, if I wanted a financial advisor, I would want someone to add this value to me too. It would be exponential. Talk about exponential growth, exponential value, peace of mind that I can really be like, hey, I can work with you. Let's work together and let's build a community of like-minded individuals who have these skills, have these tools to use. I truly believe that community is going to be the number one thing in the future. And if you can build your own community of people who have these gifts, these skills, and these tools, you're unstoppable.
Well, and quite honestly, that's why I love the Generations of Wealth platform. And self-serving, I get to meet great people like you who are now part of my community. and
Absolutely.
and we all help, and this isn't a big secret to those listeners out there that have never done their own podcasting. We do this because we love teaching, we love giving back, but I also do this to grow my network and meet people like you and other people that I've interviewed, because quite frankly, you and I would have likely never met in any other way, shape, or form. So this is fantastic.
Fantastic. I agree.
Well, let's wind this up with my favorite question. What's one question I should have asked you that I didn't? And it can be about anything.
Well, I guess the one question you should have asked me is, if you wrote 12 books, what kind of books are they? Just can you showcase me your books? Okay, so I do have a bookstore. Feel free to check it out. It's on payhip.com/precious metals masterclass. You can also go to preciousmetalsmasterclass.com. One word, straight, simple. You can actually see the services that we have available for you and all the books that we have. I have 2 books specifically for nurses because, of course, I'm biased for nurses. I try to retire as many nurses early as possible. So I have 2 very inspirational nursing poem books that really put you, even if you're not a nurse, it puts you in the skin of a nurse, going through her shift, going through all the emotions of seeing what life and death can do and dreaming of something bigger than her occupation. So I have 2 books. One is called From ICU to ROI, One Dream at a Time. And the next one is Cold Blue to Gold, Poems of a Nurse Reborn. Love those books. Those books really came from the heart. And then, of course, I realized too, by interviewing and cultivating over 1,000 people to interview them to become agents in my agency, that I realized that it's not so much that they can't do life insurance so much, or they can't get licensed. They need a mindset shift. It's all about mindset shift. And if you feel lousy, if you feel like crap, you're not going to want to go forward. So I really wanted to focus on mindset shifts. So I literally wrote 2 books about myself, my journey, and how I was able to recondition my mind for greatness and creativity. So 2 books that I literally just launched: Don't Fight Fire and Can't Fight Fire, which essentially means you have to, you can't, of course, you don't want to fight fire because that fire is molding you. It's growing you. And of course, you can't fight fire because that fire is going to actually propel you to fly. So those books really go into detail, especially when it comes to quantum manifesting. That's a huge, huge deal as well. A lot of people think that as you're thinking, you're just separated from the universe and from other people, but you don't realize that your actions have a ripple effect. Everything is by frequency. And if you are not in the right frequency, or not aligned in the right frequency, things will not happen for you as you want them to. Why? Because you're focused on what you don't have. You need to focus on what you want and then have the feelings of having it already. That's how you get more of it. That's absolutely, I believe in that. And of course, I have the Umbrella Collection, which is a series of children's books in poetry focused on financial literacy. It's all on the website. It's really in poetry form, and I really designed it in a way in which grandparents can sit down with their grandchildren, read these books, and start to think, hey, what can I be doing that will ensure that my grandchild is protected and taken care of? Should I be buying gold and silver? Yes. Should I be getting a life insurance policy to protect my mortgage, a mortgage protection policy? Yes, absolutely. Should I be getting an IUL? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So that you don't have to worry. You can sleep at night. A lot of people are not sleeping well at night because the main focus is financial reasons. And I know for me, my biggest fear was poverty. I didn't want to go back. I've been there. I've done that. I don't want to go back. So how do I prevent that? Well, and how do I prevent my family from never having to go back? these were the tools that I used. So I call it the umbrella collection because it's literally an umbrella sheltering you from the storm, from any type of financial storm. So yeah, as minuscule as it looks, but I love the term umbrella to describe it.
Well, I'm glad I asked you my favorite question. So, man, this has gone very fast. I think
Yes, it has, right?
yes, love your story, love you, you're heart-centered.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
It's amazing. So, again, thank you for being here, and
I would love to come back if you would have me. Absolutely.
of course, we would love that. And so, for everybody else, go check out Camille's books, go check out her website. And if you think that any of the 167 services that she offers can help you, do not hesitate to reach out to her. And
Absolutely.
and we can always, even if you don't know how to get a hold of her, or you for some reason can't find the website or whatever, you can always come to me at the Generations of Wealth. I can connect you with Camille, no problem. So thank you for listening, and thank you for helping us grow the Generations of Wealth platform and the family. And as always, please like this, share this, give us all the love and hearts you can. And until the next show, go out and get you an IUL.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, Derek.